whenever I just start to let go, I feel like I can take it. I can realize it. These are the thoughts and topics I want to share with you today. Position myself at a new place at home as I'm trying out something new, something where my mind gets a different kind of flow, and let it all get out onto a different kind of level, even though I'm not too sure yet how the inspiration of the visual side I'm getting here is leaning me toward a great output, but I'm giving my best and just do it. And yeah, what I've got to see recently is that whenever I just try to hold on to something so hard because it meant so much for me to keep going, it defined itself on a level I was reaching out for just because it was so close to my heart. Whenever I tried so hard going after the things I truly care about, or trying so hard because I see that I want to get myself out of a certain circumstance, then this pressure at some point just overtook how I'm doing and departed the actual meaning of pursuing it in with such a seemingly powerful approach. And at some point I was wondering why everything that I was trying so hard for and so desperately was seemingly just getting out of my hands. Why is this happening when I try so hard? Why are things like getting more distant once I just try to attract myself to it? And this desperate move of just trying and going so hard after this one thing just gave me back so little after a longer period of time, in certain regards for sure, because you cannot apply this thing on everything and just say, okay, yeah, when this is a bad outcome, I might just go in the other direction. Because when I would go in the other direction with some things, as the feeling is telling me, okay, I'm doing too much, I want it too hard. When you start to get into the opposite direction with things that actually need your desperate work for them to get fulfilled by yourself, because you need to put in the hard work to get things done, then this won't change anything. But there are things that can certainly be attracted to oneself once you show up with greater distance to it, with less active determination. And that was something I almost couldn't believe in, because it felt so illogical to be able to get closer to something once you distance yourself from it. But the first actual realization I had in regard to that was some years back, when I started to see that the distancing from certain scenes of people, of certain types of friends I would have from certain lifestyles, nightlife, drugs, or whatever kind of stuff, that I was actually getting closer to myself. And that is coming with like that is coming within the exchange of giving something, like putting it off from oneself and getting back something differently. But I didn't realize that too actively, and still tried harder to distance myself from certain things, and eventually came to a point where I just thought the best way to go after life and all that's coming with it would be to just leave my hometown here, where I'm back now again, to go into the east and to Vienna and just start live life anew. And through the distance I was giving myself, through this act of moving off, after some time of being away, I got closer to who I am, because what I was actually doing by this move of moving away from my town, with the wish of now being in a more populated city, in a city where the scene is cooler, where there's more possibility to approach people. Once I did that and started to see that I'm actually not living that life in the city, I got closer to who I am actually, by not going after that specific action of doing something with other people, by overlapping who I am through these actions I was hoping for, these external and extrinsic motivations, these things that keep me going, but on a level that's coming from out there, and actually, as mentioned, overlap who I am, maybe. And I'm not saying these things are things we shall not do. If you feel great about it, then just go for it. I just had all these times past myself where I got to make so many experiences with people in these regards, by and overstraining these certain lifestyles by hanging around with and going out and doing all sorts of substances and having nights without sleep. But yeah, once I was in the position of having it all in front of my hands and not taking it, I went into a direction where I actually distanced myself more and more from who I was trying to get. And that was actually showing me what I want. And the act of doing so, of not going out when I was in Vienna, of not approaching outgoing life there, even though I was in a bigger city, with more opportunities to find people, I got to see the true value of what I want. And what I was actually wanting, and started to decipher from how I was living life, and what I got to see was what is important for me, was that I just have to get back, that I'll have to go back to where I came from, even though for such a long time my desperate wish was just to get off there, to distance myself as far as I can from my hometown, because I cannot seem to get the things I want, because certain experiences just mark our beings, and this amount of pressure we give ourselves through this only option we might seem to get by just getting far off. Sometimes also the move that for sure, as you could have seen with my experience, brings us closer to where we actually should be, and that was where I was coming from. So I went back and got to learn so much more throughout these times of just being with myself so much and not worrying about all these external factors. So the wish of getting something big back just vanished into nothingness when I was actually having it. As just then I was really seeing what it carried within it. And that was not the thing I actually wanted. But I wasn't seeing that because I wanted the veil. I wanted the thing that wasn't actually the core of all it. And that was such a long road to take to get to this realization. But it's the road we gotta take, and it's our experiences we are making, and this is good to have and good to face. And with other things, when I'm standing in front of a big and impactful decision to make, a new kind of goal, something I'm striving for, I'm working for, when the desperate wish for it gets too big and I lose out on the control of just balancing other parts that bring the actual power within them and the motivation to keep going, and certainly overstrain all the thing I'm doing, then things start to break down. And as it's able to be seen on there, it can also be applied to some degree to things that are actually not easily accessible and being able to get handled with our own hands. For example, certain new kind of impacts on our lives, new kind of connections we make with a person, new kind of feelings we get to see. And whenever it comes to things that are invaluable because they cannot be built through a materialistic approach where we have to put in work to get something back and see a solution we gotta work for. Whenever the things we get back or are getting closer to us are not built in this with this kind of force, but are coming from the, I would say, energetical level of something that we just attract, that just embodies who we are and attracts how we are living. These things are not calculatable. These things are just, and these people that might just pop up out of nowhere, they don't come because you plan to get them, because you work for it. You don't get these people laid in front of your door just because you put in the work of ordering them. It's not working like that. Things are quite differently with these kind of invaluable things, and therefore they carry so much more value in them for sure. But to be able to acquire these things is the other part. Because how can we make sure we are at the right track of being able to still move ourselves closer to get these indescribably valuable things back and actually attract the things that give us the most back? Genuine connections, people that help, that go with us through all our phases, who take us from our core out, who just look at us in such a raw and direct manner, that are always telling us what they think. How can we make sure we get closer to these people? And that was the moment where I just felt like, or have seen, that in the most times, and in the epochs of my life where I was trying the least hard and have not been searching for anything and not been trying to get something, in exactly these times, the biggest and most impactful and greatest new connections came up out of nowhere. Because I settled myself on and within the sphere I am, with who I am trying to be. Because it's not that active search, I want this now. I want to have this kind of relationship. I want to be with these kind of people. When actually distancing from these thoughts and just starting to focus on how we actually are, and if we are even capable of attracting this now. I think once I started to shift this into the way where I just let it go and being one with who I am, at that moment I can start to attract it, really. And whenever I let go, things just came up then. And these beautiful sights just showed up out of nowhere. These opportunities to get into new kind of realm with someone. Even though I was focusing on the complete opposite side of things and was not trying in any way to come up with a connection like that. But at these moments they show up. And I think this is also because, as mentioned, we start to settle ourselves and set ourselves out for what we are trying to attract. Because there's a certain formula, I'd say, behind all these things we are approaching within our social lives and general personal lives. And a big factor of how we can direct all this just shows itself of how settled we are in the things we do. And if I'm standing still, being clear with who I am, feeling good with how I'm positioning myself, just giving it all out of my hands, even though this seems we lose control, but to just not take the control gives back so much more of it maybe afterwards. And control can be looked at with a bad look as well, for sure. And I'm not saying control is good, but control can also be something where we are able to direct something into a direction we're feeling good about. And we shall not control something into a way we just want now, because that's the feeling we have. We should start to direct ourselves and control where we are going within ourselves to be actually able to direct our view, our perception of where we could lead ourselves. And when this inner direction is in a good conclusion, we can carry it out, but without that controlling aspect to it. Because we have paved the way already, even though we might have never walked it actively with all our senses that can sink down. We still build it. We still forged the whole thing, and we're part of the whole build-up. So this is something we can apply, and just seeing this kind of view, and it was just by living it through that I was able to see this. But it's feeling good, because once I just stopped trying so hard, things just come out of nowhere. Things that are actually very beautiful. And yeah, the differentiation of what shall be controlled or directed externally is also is always, or has always been laid out on the factor of if it is something humanly accessible, of something social, of something invaluable, because you cannot buy it, you cannot build it, you cannot forge it. When it's something that has to take its course of being, then an approach of letting go of the control by directing our own way first and just living it out and doing our things without this desperate need of attracting this now will actually give the energy to the things that might be best for you. So I hope this can be applied. I was having a very good time here, even though I'm not so visually pleased because I see so many things lying around that should have get moved away earlier. But yeah, it also gives me opportunity to grow whenever I look around in my room and see how I'm trying so hard doing some things, building my app, working on things that are close to my heart. And that so that almost that many things just in my that are part of my life maintenance just get deprioritized sometimes. But seeing them so closely through all these view I have here gives me the possibility to take it up and tidy it up as well. So thank you very much for tuning in, and I wish you best of would not like to say luck, because you got something in, or you got it all in your hands, and yeah, you can do this. I believe in you, and yeah, see you very soon, maybe again next year, and next time here again. I like it here in my room. So good to talk to you. Bye bye.